other than in the city of Oviedo, we have our own city government, we have our own police, our own fire, and things of that nature. And when you live out in the county, the sheriff and the county takes care of your water, sewer, and garbage. In the city of Oviedo, I've been elected now for just about 20 years. I've been the mayor for, it's gonna be 9 years now. I've been the mayor. And it's really been an absolute pleasure and honor to be able to do this for so many years and enjoy it, because you guys are 12, 13 years old? 11, oh my goodness, they're getting younger on me at each class. So that means that I was in office before you guys were even born, so I feel very old today. In the city of Oviedo, we have approximately, just in the city now, that doesn't include all you guys with the Oviedo mailing address, we have 40,000 people who live in the city of Oviedo. When I was first elected, there were less than 20,000 people, and when I moved here in 1996 into the city, there were only 18,000 people. So it's really been quite a change out in the city. In the city of Oviedo, we have 5 members of our council. We're called the council, some call them a commission, it's all the same. We have myself, the mayor, and we have 4 other members. We are also what's known as a council manager form of government, as opposed to what's known as a strong mayor. And let me tell you what the difference is. A strong mayor, any of you familiar with Buddy Dyer? You see him on TV all the time. Well, Orlando is a much bigger city, and bigger cities tend to have what's called a strong mayor. So the strong mayor is the CEO of the city, makes all the decisions, basically makes the decisions and brings them back to his council, or actually they usually call commissions, in order to get them approved. We'll let Ms. Bobet get the phone. In a smaller city like ourselves, we have what's called a council manager form of government. The city manager runs our day-to-day operation, and the council sets all the policy and the direction for the city manager to follow. Oh, we have somebody outside coming in? Nope. So the council sets all the direction, and the city manager implements it on a daily basis. So I don't sit in an office all day long down in City Hall like Buddy Dyer may do, but I do go out and I represent the city on all of the different boards that we have. I come out to classrooms like yourself, and I do all the ceremonial items for the city, so ribbon cuttings and things of that nature. So it's really a lot of fun. In the city government, we take care of many different departments. Most important, of course, are police and fire, public safety, as we like to call it, because that is really one of the main focuses of what a city government provides. There's some very basic services we provide to all the residents of our city. Public safety being one, police and fire, and water and sewer, and garbage pickup. You know, we always say in our business, if we can do those 5 things, great. 99% of the folks in our city are going to be very happy. And out in Oviedo, we tend to do them very well. We also take care of Parks and Rec. So I'm sure you guys have used some of our Parks and Rec programs or facilities. Anybody play baseball out at OSC, or swim pool at our gymnasium, climbed our rock wall. What else we got out there? Skate park. Anybody use a skate park? No? Okay, it's got somebody uses a skate park. We have a golf course now that you can go play, Twin Rivers Golf Course. We have soccer fields. How many soccer players we have? There we go. How about softball players? We have softball fields too out there. So, all right over there. There's our softball player. So we have a lot of Parks and Rec facilities in the city of Oviedo. Heck, you can even do archery in the city of Oviedo if you wanted to. We have archery programs. We also have Public Works. Public Works is, as I mentioned earlier, next to public safety, is probably our most important department. Public Works takes care of all the roads, the sidewalks, the curbs. They take care of the garbage, make sure the garbage is picked up. They take care of the utilities, so that would be the wastewater and the drinking water. You know, it's very, very important. So we have our own water plant in the city of Oviedo, where we actually produce our own water. Any of you eat at Ale House ever? out on Mitchell Hammock Road there. So right behind it, you see the water plant. And over in Alafaya Woods, I wouldn't think any of you guys from Alafaya Woods go to Tuscarora Middle, are you?
No.
Probably no. No, I don't think so.
I love the woods.
That's where our wastewater plant is. So, Loma Woods, I would assume, right? How many are in the Loma Woods? Yeah, you guys are just outside the city, but that makes more sense. So Public Works takes care of all of those issues. Then we have Building Services, which takes care of all the different development issues throughout the city. Obviously, a finance department, human resources, and things of that nature over at City Hall. Anybody know where City Hall is located? By the Publix on Alafaya Trail, it's right back there. City Hall campus, we have 4 different campuses in the city of Oviedo where we house all of the workers. We have 365 employees in the city of Oviedo. Of that, nearly, about 145 of them work for public safety, which are our police and fire. So that like I said earlier, those are our biggest departments. Our budget in the city of Oviedo is about $65 million a year. That's about the budget that we operate in order to run the city every day and every year. City Council, as I said earlier, we set all the different laws, pass all the different ordinances in the city of Oviedo, but most importantly, our most important function every year is to have a balanced budget and to set the tax rate that we charge your parents in order to fund that budget. So right now in the city of Oviedo, we're actually kind of tied for the second lowest tax rate in all of Seminole County, despite all of the services that we offer everybody. We have a lot of services in the city of Oviedo. Something very unique about Oviedo, 25% of our city is parkland or conservation area. So it's preserved forever for the folks. Now you guys probably know Oviedo was originally an agricultural community, right? Anybody know what we were infamous for growing?
Oranges.
We did grow oranges, but that wasn't quite the one that put us on the map. Celery. Yep, that's what Oviedo is infamous for. The Duda family, Slovaks, came down back in the 1900s after the orange groves all froze out back in 1880s, 1890s, and they discovered that in this soil that we had that was known as muck, that they could grow celery. And they grew a lot of it. Then eventually the oranges, citrus came back, and we were an agricultural community for many, many years. Oviedo was actually named, it became Oviedo in 1879. Up until that point, it was just known as the Lake Jessup Territory. How many of you have been out to the Black Hammock Fish Camp? Any of you? That's about the area where the wharf was for the Lake Jessup community. Paddle boats used to come down from Sanford and bring supplies to the Lake Jessup community through what was called the Solari Wharf, which is right about where the Black Hammock Fish Camp is currently today. 1879, the United States put a post office in Oviedo, and our first postmaster, his name is Andrew Allen, the Allen family. You probably see Allen Drive and little references to the historical families around the city. Being the first postmaster, got to name the city. And he had been reading books about this city in the country of, anybody know where the word Oviedo comes from? Country of Spain. Spain, there's a city called Oviedo. It's actually a university community in Oviedo, Spain. Now that is the correct pronunciation. So every time you guys are getting directions from your GPS in the car and the thing says Oviedo and everybody giggles, and that's actually the way you pronounce it. It became Oviedo when it became Americanized. So,
my husband has told me that, and I didn't believe him, but I guess
Oviedo, Spain. So we were an agricultural community for many years, up until 1978. You're all not going to believe this, but there was only one traffic light in the city of Oviedo. One traffic light in the little downtown area with Baptist churches. That was it, all the way up till 78, 78 or 79. 1980, the second traffic light came in. So that's kind of amazing when you think about it. It's not that long ago that this was a rural agricultural community. Mitchell Hammock Road wasn't even built. It didn't exist. It was sand going through the sod farms. So where the mall is now, that was all celery. where Rock and Brews is. As far as the eye can see, from your school back to Oviedo, it was all owned by the Duda family or the Slovak families. There were many of them, but the Dudas was primarily the biggest one. Owned all the land, and they grew celery. The Dudas are still the largest family-owned agricultural company in the United States, and they are headquartered right here in Oviedo. They have holdings everywhere, and I'm going to challenge you all to something, and then we'll start answering some questions that you may have about what I do for a living. But I'm going to challenge you all. Next time, who goes to Publix? Everyone goes to Publix, right? Oh, come on, raise your hand, everybody. Next time you all go into Publix, I want you to go into the vegetable section, the produce section, and I want you to look for anything packaged that says Dandy, D-A-N-D-Y. And I want you to pick it up, and I want you to look at it and see where it comes from. It's the Duda family in Oviedo, Florida. That's what it says. So it's kind of cool. We still have our agricultural roots. And agriculture, like I said, that was the main crux of what was done here in the city or in the Oviedo area for hundreds of years. Until the farmers discovered that they could sell the land and have it developed, and it was worth more than growing oranges on it, and that's how we developed into Oviedo. Truly, though, a lot of that was driven by this little teeny university called FTU or UCF. So UCF kind of really drove a lot of the growth out here. FTU, Florida Technical University, actually was what UCF was at the very beginning. I don't know if you guys knew that. It was put together for NASA, for the Space Coast, in order to educate engineers for the Space Coast. That's where FTU started from. If you look at the original mascot for the UCF football team, it's an orange with an astronaut helmet on it. It is called Orange Knot or something like that, like astronaut with orange.
Citronaut. The
Right?
Citronaut.
Citronaut, that was him, thank you. Citronaut is what he was called. So that goes back to the roots, and then it became UCF, and now you guys know it's the second largest university in the country by student population. 66,000 kids go to UCF. So it is kind of amazing. We all have that right here in our backyard. But guys, that's just a little brief background on what I do, why I do it, how we kind of do it. Oviedo, we serve 2-year terms, and we do not have term limits, so we can serve as long as your parents will keep re-electing us. So why don't I answer some questions, because who knows where that's going to lead us. The last class was great, I will let you know, so I want you guys all to step up to the plate here. The favorite aspect of my job was the question that was asked, and quite honestly, that was a common theme in the earlier class. I just love doing this. You know, when you're an elected official, you don't do it for the money, because there really isn't any money in being a local elected official. You do it because you love your community. And the best aspect of what I do is getting to go out into the community and share the knowledge I have. I mean, I get to speak to a lot of different schools, a lot of different organizations. I get to do state of the cities for different businesses. I enjoy just telling everybody about Oviedo and how great it is, because we're proud of it. That's why we all live here. I have not met the current president. I have met President Bush a couple of times when he was president, Bush II. I was able to meet, and I didn't technically get to meet President Obama, but I was kind of in the same room with him. Yes. I'm sorry? Any celebrities? A few. You know, Jake Owen, the singer, he did a concert out at Oviedo on the Park many years ago. That would be the only one that would really come to mind that I met because I was the mayor. Yes.
Did you always want to be mayor?
That is a great question, and no. When I was born and raised up in Long Island, and when I was younger, I had really no aspirations of being an elected official or being in politics. I told the class earlier, when I was your age, all day long, we would play baseball in the summer and we played hockey in the winter. Because that's what you did when you grew up on Long Island. It was cold like this. This was warm for the winter. But I had no aspirations. When I moved down here to Florida 23 years ago, back in 1996, we built this nice brand new house on this little country road, and some developer was coming in and wanted to build 300 or 400 apartment complexes right across the street from us. And I live right off of Chapman Road. How many of you went to Evans Elementary? Some of you may have. Okay, I live right across the street, right down the road from it. And that's where they wanted to build apartments, and that's what got me involved. And I got involved in that, and the communities got together. We put together expert testimony. We went into the city council chambers, and we presented our case, and the city council denied the application for the apartments, and that's how Evans Elementary came into play. That piqued my interest. I ran for city council right after that, not knowing anything about it, and I lost miserably. But I didn't really lose, because it's with anything in life, when you try something, at first you don't succeed, you try again. You learn from it. And I learned from that experience. I learned what it was really involved in running a campaign. I learned what really it was to be involved in your community. And I got more involved. I got appointed to the Land Planning Agency, ran 2 years later, and I was elected back in 2000. So that's kind of a little brief history of how I got to where I am. But no, I didn't anticipate ever doing this.
What's the hardest part of being there?
It was a responsibility. You know, when you're the mayor of the city, even though we're not a strong mayor form of government, you know, everybody always wants the mayor to have the answer. And, you know, sometimes we just don't. You know, but we try our best to give them as good an answer as we can, or to go address and take care of their problem to the best of our ability. But since we're not a strong mayor, I just can't go wave my magic wand and make things go away all the time, because I have to bring them back to our council. We have to get council approval, but we do a pretty good job of making sure everything's taken care of. You all love living here, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Yes, son.
Will we be able to take pictures?
I'm sorry?
Will we be able to take pictures?
Of me here today? Go right ahead. Any other questions? Come on, guys. The other class we ran late on questions. Yes?
I know this is probably a bad question, but about the 1% of the population that really doesn't like the choices that you make.
The 1%?
Yeah, what about that
Well,
those people?
it could be more than 1%. You never know. You know, you're not always going to agree with everybody, and you have to do what you can do for the best for the overall health of the community. And you're never going to get 100% of the people to agree on that. I mean, you guys ever agree with each other or all your friends 100% of the time? No. It's impossible. But what you try to do is you try to take that situation and you try to make the best of it. It's called building consensus. And we do a lot of that as elected officials. Because a lot of times you'll have people on different sides of an issue. We have an issue going on right now. We have folks on different sides of the issue, and I've gotten both sides together, and they're gonna sit down, and hopefully by the time it comes into our council chambers, maybe they'll have something worked out with each other. You know, where everybody gets a little bit of something, but not everybody gets everything they want. It's called consensus. It's the best that you can do in certain situations. I think what a lot of times, what folks forget is, you know, sometimes folks remember the Oviedo of yesteryear that I described to you, you know, in agricultural farming communities. Well, we're not that. We're a city. And we're growing into a city, and we're evolving exactly as it's been planned. We're not changing it's called the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan, every city has one. So as you guys get older, and you want to go buy a house, and you know, you go out to buy that house, and some realtor tells you that lot of land across the street there, that's conservation land, it's going to be conservation forever, nothing's ever going to be built there. Well, you have two choices. You can believe them, or you can go down to the local government, whoever it may be, and ask them to see the comprehensive plan. Because the comprehensive plan tells you how your municipality is going to grow. The state of Florida requires that every municipality has one. So you can go in there and you can see if that land actually says conservation, and if it does, it'll be conservation forever. But if that land says, in the city of Oviedo, let's assume it says R1, that's residential housing. So that's how you can do it. Let's talk about politics a little bit. Elections, because you guys are gonna, pretty soon, you'll be registered voters, right? And everybody always likes to pay attention to what? National politics, right? President, right? You hear the president all the time. Everybody wants to go vote in the presidential election. Well, I'm here to tell you today, guys, the most important election that you can ever vote in, the one you need to vote in, are your local elections. Because your local elections, remember before I described to you all the different things that we do in the local government? That affects your day-to-day life every day. Not that the president isn't important, because he certainly is, or she is. Not that the governor isn't important. Not that the state legislature isn't important. Not that the county government isn't important, because that is too. But you notice what's happening. They're becoming closer and closer to you. So you've got to pay attention to your local elections. The other thing that I need you all to promise me is that you'll become super voters. A super voter is a person who votes in every election. Now, let me tell you a funny thing about super voters and a little dirty secret with politicians. The super voters are the ones that we pay the most attention to. Right or wrong or indifferent, we know when we look, and we're running for re-election, and we look at the voter registration rolls, we know instantly who's going to vote. And those are the people who get all the attention. So if you want to get some attention, you want to make a difference, become a super voter. And just vote in every election. Because it might not go your way. Your candidate may not get elected. Your issue may not get passed. But if you don't participate, you really can't complain about it. You gotta participate. So everyone gonna be a super voter?
Yes, sir.
Just say yes.
Say yes, sir.
Just humor me today.
All right, how many of you guys know that your parents voted in the last election? Raise your hand.
Probably did, because it was a governor's race.
Okay.
All right,
How many of you guys know when the next opportunity for your parents to vote is? Okay, when is it?
2080.
So, when is it?
All right, how many of you have blue and green garbage cans? Raise your hand. The big, gigantic ones, right? Big blue and green cans on wheels, say City of Oviedo on the side. All righty, next time your parents get to vote is 2019, this November. That's when
So, if you guys are in the city of Oviedo, your parents can vote this year. And what can they vote for?
Yep, first Tuesday in November. I think it is the 6th. So, you gotta pay attention, guys. You gotta be an educated voter, please. And please go out and vote. Even if you don't, your parents don't vote for me, that's fine. I understand. Just go out and be part of the process. Because that's how things change. And that's how things evolve. All right, how about any other questions? Gotta be questions. You got a piece of paper there.
Come on, Jessica. All right, Emily's got a question.
What's your educational background?
My educational background? I have an associate's degree. I did 2 years of college, and then I had business opportunities that were available to me. But, guys, when I was growing up and I was younger, and I told my girls this too, a couple of years of college, and you went out and you worked, and, you have that entrepreneur spirit, you can go do things like that. Today's world, guys, you've gotta finish college, gotta get your bachelor's degree, go for 4 years, or get into trade school. Seminole County does an incredible job of offering trade programs as well. So if college isn't for you, get into that trade program and finish that trade program.
How rough was your childhood?
I'm sorry?
How rough was your childhood?
How rough was my childhood? I had a normal upbringing and, I wouldn't say upper middle class, but a middle class home up on Long Island. My parents were divorced. We were latchkey children. my brother and I, and, you know, we turned out just fine. You know, you gotta remember, when life hands you lemonades, make lemon, when life hands you lemon, make lemonade. Sorry, guys. You know, don't, woe is me. Woe is me doesn't get you anywhere. Yes. When I was younger, I did. I had a very bad car accident when I was 16 years old. So when you guys get your driver's license, just be careful out there on the road. Actually broke my neck. That's how I lost my hearing. Remember you heard me, Sarah? I don't know if I told this class. I'm deaf in my right ear because of the accident. So guys, when you get your driver's license, I'm going to talk to you like I talk to my girls. Just don't mess around with the car. You can hurt yourself very bad. Yes, sir. Well, we do different events with the police and fire department. I've done ride-alongs with both. You can do a ride-along with any police department. You know, where you get to go ride along with an officer for an afternoon and see what they do. And I will tell you guys, if you ever have the opportunity to do it because you'll have a much better appreciation for law enforcement and police officers for what they do every single day. It isn't what you think it is. Let's go to the young lady on the left there with the happy shirt on. No mistakes happen. I did. We played street hockey, roller hockey, and ice hockey. And being from the north, that's just what we did. Now we'll go to your friend next to you. At what age? I think that's a great question. And I don't think I've told this class this. I told the other class. When I was elected to the city council, I was a council member. And I was what's called the deputy mayor, which means when the mayor couldn't do her role at the time, I would go out and substitute for her. Mary Lou Andrews was our mayor, and she was doing a fine job of being the mayor. Her husband got very sick and she had to resign. And so when she resigned, by our charter, and our charter is the constitution of how the city is run, I became the mayor. And I had always wanted to run for mayor, and it was kind of planned that when Mary Lou didn't want to be the mayor anymore, that I was going to kind of run for election to mayor, so it kind of just fell into my lap. But I've been the mayor 9 years, been reelected 4 times, so I like it. Yes?
Where exactly in the north did you come from?
Out on Long Island, Suffolk County. Did you come from the north?
Illinois.
Illinois, Midwest.
Where's that?
Cold up there right now. You saw,
It is too cold.
you saw relatives here?
You need
Yes, sir. I'm sorry? Oh, what, all right, hey guys, the question was, what was a latchkey kid? And I'm sorry if I should have explained that term. A latchkey child is when you have either two parents who are working, or you have a divorced family, and when you come home, they're not there. It just means latchkey. Well, then, see? There you go, it's just a term. There's nothing wrong with being a latchkey kid. You know what the latchkey means? You put the key in the door, you go in the house, and you stay there until mom or dad comes home. At least that's what we use that to do. Yes, sir.
Guys, let's keep it down.
All right, the question was, how many meetings do I have a day? My day varies, and we talked about this in the last class. Like, for instance, next Thursday, I start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I go to about 8 o'clock at night on mayor issues. Generally, every single day I have something to do that relates to being the mayor, whether I'm going out somewhere, whether I'm just answering emails. We talked about this also. I get about 100 emails a day at City Hall. So I get a lot of emails to answer. Yes?
Are you associated with the Boy Scouts? And
I am not associated directly with the Boy Scouts. No. I was a Weblo when I was a kid.
Oh, we blow?
Weblo. Yes.
Do you ever get a day to yourself?
I'm sorry?
Do you ever get a day to yourself?
I try to keep one day during the week to myself, and I try to keep my Sunday social if I can. Because of my career as a realtor, sometimes the Sundays become difficult. But I try to keep a day during the week. I try Tuesday is usually the day I try to keep to myself. And it's awesome, because everyone's at work and I have the whole city to myself. New York. What kind of music do I listen to? I would probably say that I like a lot of the 80s rock and roll bands. That's what I grew up with. So who doesn't like 80s rock and roll? Come on now. How about, all right, wait a second now. How about like Billy Joel? Who is that? I like that. I bet you everyone in this room could probably sing about a dozen of his songs.
You guys can.
You
just
could,
haven't
you
done
just
it
don't
about
think you realize it.
At least a dozen. All right, who doesn't know the song Piano Man?
They probably heard it, they just don't know the title.
Yeah, that's okay. And I'm not singing it, so.
Give us a performance.
That's not good. Nice try, though.
Any other questions, guys?
Oh, right over here we got one.
What's the funnest part of being a mayor?
The best part about being a mayor is actually just getting out in the community, promoting the community, coming to events like this. This is what I really love to do. Whenever I get to go out and talk about Oviedo, talk about how great Oviedo is, explain all about the government, how it works, that's what I enjoy the most. Also, another great thing that we get to do in the city council chamber is when we invite down the teams, either sports teams, athletic, art teams, academic teams, for winning state championships and stuff. And we get to recognize these kids just like yourselves in our council chambers for their great work that they've done. Yes. I am married. I have 2 children. Both of my girls are UCF graduates. Both of them are Seminole County School graduates. One of my girls graduated Oviedo High, the other one graduated Haggerty High, just because we got rezoned. And my youngest had her choice of going to Haggerty or Oviedo, and since most of the family went to Oviedo and her friends were all going to Haggerty, she went to Haggerty. She was at Lunchchilds then. My oldest, Amanda, is a school teacher actually. Out in Pasco County. She'll be moving back this way this summer with her husband, and she'll probably come work in Seminole County. This is where she did all her internships.
I'm sure you're excited to have her back.
You know, it's going to be, they were only in Wesley Chapel, it's not like they're too far, but Andy used to work for General Motors, so they moved around a lot, and now he's in Newfield, so he doesn't have to live over there anymore. They want to come home. Yes? I have 2 girls. Yes. The hardest part of my job, the most difficult part of the job, guys, honestly, is when there's difficult decisions that we have to make, where you have 2 different sides and folks just aren't happy with any decision that you make. But, you know, sometimes you have to put all of that aside, and, you know, there's a saying in our business that you have to vote your conscience. So you have to vote what you think is the right thing for the community. So that becomes the most difficult part of the job. You know, you gotta remember, you can't play politics with your decisions. Yes. You know, up to this point, I have not gotten bored doing my job, and I told the last class, and I'll tell this class, and the moment I do get bored, I won't run for re-election. But as of right now, I love what I do. Yes, sir.
So what's the hardest decision you do?
The hardest decision we've ever made? Well, I would think one of the most difficult decisions that was ever made by the city council was many years ago, where the hospital is currently. Walmart wanted to come there. They wanted to build a big old super Walmart, and the community was in an uproar. But there were valid reasons to do it and valid reasons not to do it. And thank goodness we stuck to our guns and we said no, because we always wanted the hospital there, and we ended up getting it there. So that was probably one of the most contentious ones. I'll say that. That drug on for about a year and a half.
Do you have any pets?
Do I have any pets? We do have an outdoor cat who adopted us. Her name is Nala. Nala walked up to our back doorstep. Let's see, Krista was a senior in high school, so that was probably about 8 years ago. As a kitten who hadn't eaten for days, and she was just all skin and bones, and my wife was like, don't feed the kitten, don't feed the kitten, don't feed the kitten. Krista and I fed her. And we built her a doghouse. It's really the funniest thing. Well, it's really a cat house, but it looks just like a doghouse, and it's her home out back.
Would you ever consider running running as president or something?
For higher office, you know, I've always thought about it. I've been asked to run for different offices. I just enjoy what I do. You know, what happens as an elected official and in politics, as you progress up the ladder, so to speak, you've got to compromise your conscience just a little bit more as you go, and I'm just not prepared to do that. Not how I'm made. Do I like President Trump? Well, I don't know if that's a question I should answer in this room. But I respect whoever the president is. This is the second question.
They're into it. It must be a hot topic at home.
You know what? The national politics, let's talk about national politics right now, okay? Whether you like President Trump, hate President Trump, like Nancy Pelosi, you know, like what's going on, you know, they're acting like children. You know, it's like, you took my ball, I took the ball back, and, you know, honestly, to shut down the government over the issues they shut it down over, I'm not quite sure I agree with that 100%. But it's what happened, it's behind us, and let's hope now that they can all pick up the pieces and come to a resolution on the issue that is driving this, because it is an issue. You know, so you got one side saying it's not an issue, you got one side saying it's a major issue. Well, somewhere in the middle is the truth. And that's called building consensus. So we gotta come to a compromise that we can move forward with. Now, I got the 2-minute mark, so why don't we answer a couple more questions before the bell rings?
Anybody else?
Anyone? You've been awful quiet. Nothing? What's your favorite color? My favorite color? Probably blue. You'll see me in blue a lot. My favorite food? Did someone just ask you that?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a great question. I happen to be like a semi-amateur barbecue smoker. So barbecue is my favorite. That's what you'll find me doing a lot of times on Sundays, smoking something. Let me go right here. Well, it's like I said, on the federal level right now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Everybody say thank you.
Thank you. You guys can go out that door too.
Everybody go out all floors. Everybody go out all floors.
Wait, is my contract right there?
Very nice to meet you. I hope you have fun.
And everybody decided was going to take a picture.
Did you get your picture?
Yeah, he did. He asked me if he could.
Good.
You were on the phone. He
Okay.
asked, "Am I allowed to take a picture?"
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Do you have everything?
I do. I got my